it's important to have a mentor to be able to kind of fall back on, and also business related. I mean, all the stuff that I've learned about business either comes from consulting when we had our consultation, but also it's on your own.
Hello and welcome to Beauty and the Biz, where we talk about the business and marketing side of plastic surgery. I'm your host, Catherine Maley, author of Your Aesthetic Practice, as well as a new book called the Plastic Surgery Playbook. And I'm also consultant to plastic surgeons to get them more patients and more profits. Now, today's special guest is Dr. James Ruff. He's a board-certified plastic and reconstructive surgeon in private practice located in Tucson, Arizona. So Dr. Ruff received his medical degree at Temple University School of Medicine in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, then did a 5-year general surgery residency at the University of Arizona, and then a 3-year plastic surgery residency at the University of California, and an additional 1-year fellowship in microsurgery. Now he's currently clinical assistant professor at the University of Arizona, and his academic achievements include research publications as well as awards such as the PRS Best Breast Paper Award. Dr. Ruff, welcome to Beauty and the Biz. It is a pleasure to have you.
Hi, Catherine. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Sure. So I just have to ask, how did you end up in Tucson, Arizona? It's not exactly the, tourist destination,
Yeah.
but why Tucson, Arizona?
So I've been in Arizona. I moved in Arizona during high school. So the high school year. So I went to Snowflake High School, little town, and then NAU, Northern Arizona University. So I planned to come back. So I ended up at Temple University for medicine. Wanted to get a different view of the type of medicine, especially East Coast. And then came back here because at the time I was interested in cardiac surgery. I wanted to follow a famous surgeon that was doing artificial hearts. So that is the reason I ended up back here at
Wow.
that time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, so you get through residency and
Mhm.
fellowship, and now you get out into the world. Do you
Yeah.
go straight to solo practice? Is it a zigzaggy journey? What was that like?
Yeah. So at the time, my family was still here during the residency. So I got my wife and kids. And so I came back and started working for the VA, and also started doing or planning for my private practice. And so at the time, working at the VA gave me the ability to have a good number of cases in order for the boards and a good variety of them. So it was like guaranteed a feeder of patients and patient cases at the time. And then it afforded me to spend a lot of time with my family, which is very important to me, and then slowly develop the plan for my private practice. So that's kind of how I started this journey.
And then how do you go about finding the location? Did you rent? Did you buy? Did you do a build out? Describe your practice itself.
So at the time, I didn't know much about it. I learned, you kind of look it up, you Google, you read about it. But I think the best is finding a practice where there's an opening. So when you are able to join another practice with experienced partners, that can help you in the sense of feeding off of their energy or understanding how they practice and and also as a resource, as a mentor. But the other side to it, it can be quite, it's a learning opportunity. And if it's not the right fit, it can be a very, very challenging time.
So did you join somebody and it wasn't a great
I
fit?
did.
That's why you're solo?
Yeah, yes, yeah. So,
I
I
hear that a
mean,
lot.
yeah. So it's true when they say that when you're selecting a partner in private practice, it's like selecting a partner for life, like a marriage. And if you don't both are not in the same kind of wavelength, I mean, in the way that I figured out is I'm kind of more of a feeler. He's
Mhm.
more of a thinker. And so when it gets to certain things, it really gets, yeah, he's more of, yeah, you can guess what exactly were the issues in the sense with having somebody that was just starting and trying to get cases, and then everything that unfolded. But it was even though it was at the time very challenging on a financial standpoint, the upside to it is I still had the opportunity to learn from him. So I
Yeah.
still learned clinically. So he didn't shy away from any of that. So he's able to give me information and learn about taking care of patients and different types of procedures, somebody to go to. So in essence, it was invaluable, even though at the time it wasn't a great financial relationship.
How long did the relationship last?
4 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Usually it's about 2 years when you both figure out this isn't
Yeah.
working.
Not working.
Well,
Yeah.
usually you thought about it sooner, but then it takes about 2 years or 3 years before you finally say, you know what, this isn't going to get any better. So let's just go.
Oh, and then that's when COVID happened. So
Oh, dear.
COVID happened, and I was like, well, this everything slowed down. Maybe it's time to build and get on my own. So that's when I found an office to rent and to lease. And so that's where I started my journey. So the benefit also is that by having been already in that practice, all the foundation, all the groundwork of getting into insurances, of having your business account, your contacts has already been established. So that's, and again, it's also invaluable. So no matter what, even if the situation looks kind of not very good for you in certain aspects, there's always some other aspects that you can look into it that will benefit you. So that's the way that it did to ease my transition to being solo or by myself.
It's always lessons learned, you know?
Right.
It just
Right.
is. That's life and that's business. The more I've learned to say that versus falling on every sword, like every time something goes wrong, it's catastrophic in my head. Like, no, it's not. It's just feedback. It's not failure. It's just feedback.
Exactly. Because what you start to learn is that things are not as linear as you would like in med school or even residency. You kind of you start to understand clinically what is able to be obtained. But when you start looking at good or bad or failure and success, I think that when you start doing that, you're going to have a lot of more anxiety and more trouble in your practice. So early on, I learned that the best way to approach it is that this is the outcome, and what can I do to improve, or what do I learn from this outcome? So I think that's kind of a way that allowed me to grow in that sense, to be able to kind of simmer down my emotions or ties or emotionality towards the results, and separate yourself more, because you're going to do the best that you can. It's just that sometimes they don't go the way that you would like to. And at those moments, it's best to treat it kind of in that outcome basis and not take it so personally, because I think a lot of surgeons probably they take it a lot, take it personally when something doesn't go as they
Yeah.
would like, or the patient notices something. It's a lot of learning.
Yeah. And it's being human too.
Yeah.
So another challenge you have is you're also, you're doing plastic and reconstructive.
Yeah.
That can be difficult to balance. How's that been going for you? And is it still like, what's your percentage of recon versus cosmetic? And are you happy with that?
So yeah, because there's different aspects of each one that one enjoys. Right now, the mix is about 30% reconstruction,
Oh,
70% cosmetic, um, and you there is benefits in each one. Meaning, you could say a more altruistic view when you do insurances, because you are helping patients that are a great need in the sense for feeling whole and helping them in that journey. But in every aspect, as you learn going through this, you kind of feel and see where the flow takes you. Like if you could decide, I want to do aesthetics all day, but it's not until you're getting into it and you feel more comfortable that it kind of chooses you in a sense. But I like that balance between still having reconstruction, and sometimes it's like you can try to let it go, but I really enjoy that aspect of it.
do you keep the patients separate or are you blending them together? Because
They're
that
blended, blend together. Yeah.
Okay. The thing about insurance, here's what I would say. When you're trying to do cosmetic, it's very difficult if you're in a competitive arena for you to like cosmetic can't be a hobby anymore because it's so
Yeah.
competitive,
Yeah.
because your competitors are like thinking about it 24/7. And your focus is diluted, So
Yeah.
I would say, just if you're going to do insurance, just make sure it's the best cases. I mean, the most fulfilling cases, but don't take every little cyst and
Yeah.
keloid
Yeah.
and scar
Yeah.
removal.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. Yeah. Then that's a good point. I So no matter what, in anything that you do, is you pick what gives you satisfaction or fulfillment. So, and it's controlled as much as possible. So in this way, I control it by just doing breast reconstruction. So I don't
Got
do
it.
anything else as far as insurance. It's just focusing on breast reconstruction. So
Oh,
that kind of narrows and and there can be challenges in that, but at this time it seems very manageable. So yeah.
that's what I would have suggested if I were consulting with you.
Yeah.
Just pick one, and that's always a
Yeah.
pretty good one. And
Yeah.
just don't let it overwhelm the cosmetic side,
Right.
because one will pull on the other.
Yeah.
Also, you are married to somebody who actually is really intricately involved in your practice, and she's doing
Yeah.
the non-surgical side. So
Right.
how's that working out? You're doing the surgical, she's doing the
Yeah.
non-surgical.
Yeah, because a lot of times that it could be quite challenging, especially if you don't get to miss each other, right? So it's best that if you work as a team, so you have to know yourselves that you can work as a team effectively, especially at work. But it's so it's kind of separated because she's able to do her separate side and I do my separate side. So we do, integrate here and there, but it keeps that little bit of distance so we can miss each other. So it helps in that sense.
And is it a big part of your revenue, practice revenues, the non-surgical?
No, no, I think it's something that is growing over time, and a lot of times it's from my own patient population. So the surgical patients then become non-surgical patients.
Mhm.
I think that is a way, or that this, at least my model or this practice is slowly growing in that sense,
Mhm.
by doing it in that manner.
Um,
So you're kind of keeping the patients within uh, your
your world.
practice. Yeah, my own. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I've always thought, a surgical patient can always become a non-surgical patient, because once they feel good about this one body part, they often move on to another, or they wonder
Right.
what else is available to me.
Right.
Also, I love it for things like scarring. If there's any way you can minimize the surgical scar, or she can minimize the surgical scar.
Right.
And
Right.
you can turn it into packages,
Right. Right.
or you come up with a rapid recovery program or something.
Right.
I like to use the non-surgical creatively
Right.
but I also like to have the non-surgical have all arrows moving to the surgery. So if they started out with
Right.
Botox
Right.
for her, I'd like them to eventually, or fillers, go talk to
Right.
you about something else. So I love to have
Right.
it going both ways. Are you still doing like a boutique practice where you just have a small amount of staff, or where are you at
Yeah.
now with that?
Yeah. So right now it's the same kind of model, very concierge type
Mhm.
level of care. So that at this time, that's how kind of like I practice. It's more manageable. I get, it gives you more of a life, career balance,
Yeah.
or work balance. So yeah,
You're younger, because when I was growing up, we had no such thing as work-life balance. And I hear it now all the time with
I
the
know.
students. And I think, good
Yeah.
for you. God, good for you. Uh,
Yeah, things
so
are, yeah.
any tips on staff, hiring, firing, motivating? Have you learned any?
Yeah.
Because that's a
Yeah.
tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Because with staff, the thing is that you have to know what your culture of your practice is and what you stand for, what your mission is,
Mhm.
and finding like or people that are saying have the same values in the sense customer service is extremely important. So if you find somebody that has that skill or can develop that skill to develop that rapport quickly with the patient. I think to me that's like the key, at least for the beginning, to know. And then the other skills that are developed, whether it's transactional or et cetera, those can be learned. But I think the most important thing is picking people that are very alike to and in tune to what you provide, your energy or your way of practicing, because that's how the team works well together. You have the same belief system when it comes to be taking care of patients.
Hello, it's Catherine with a quick announcement. My new book, Beauty in the Biz, the Plastic Surgery Practice Growth Playbook, is at the printer. Now, it's based on 175 interviews with top plastic surgeons across the country, what they're doing differently to convert more, retain more, and profit more. You can pre-order a copy of the book at beautyandthebizbook.com. Now, back to the show. Well, I know you, and you're very much into patient relations and customer service. And the team that you have is totally on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
At least the team I knew. And that's the secret to this. Everyone on the same board. That's the kind of practice, and it comes from the leader. You're telling them, that's how we do it here. Are you not? Because if not, it's going to be a problem. So are you going to stay lean and mean, or do you have plans to grow that? Or
definitely as in my kind of philosophy at this time, it's one patient at a time.
Yeah.
So each patient you treat the best that you can, and hopefully and likely you get the outcomes, the desired outcomes, especially that they were expecting, and you just provide that top level of care but care. It's care. It's not just in and out and all that. It's just you care for the patient, care and selection of the best procedure for them based on their anatomy, their wants, etc. So I think that has helped me and grow over time. Most of my patients are word of mouth. Yep. And yet over time, which is the biggest hurdle, is the advertisement aspect of it, but also the social media aspect, which still is a work in progress. But I've had enough excuses. I think it's time for me to get outside of my introvert cage per se and start.
We'll talk about that next. But once I did a case study on a patient because I was giving a talk on the value of a patient, and she was worth several $100,000s to the surgeon, because if you think about it, that's how you grow everything, one patient at a time. So he happened to be a facial plastic surgeon. So it was a good average order size for a facelift, because that's a nice order size, but he took really good care of her before, during, and after. And it just kept growing. She had friends just like her at the same age who also needed a facelift. And then they all talked together and they were connected in community groups, and he gave talks, and it just went on and on. And I thought, that's how you do it. Treat every patient as you would, as you would grow a family, and they'll grow it for you if you let them.
Right.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge of being having a solo practice? Biggest challenge?
I think you can isolate yourself. I mean, it's easy to isolate yourself, especially if you're worried about your competition, things like that. I feel that's the most challenging aspect of it. So it's best to try to get involved as much as possible in the community, in the sense of the plastic, local plastic surgeons. Try to befriend one or two of them, just that way you have that contact and outlet. So that's extremely important. But again, that's I think the most challenging. And if there's questions that come up, it's important to have a mentor to be able to kind of fall back on. And also business related. I mean, all the stuff that I've learned about business either comes from consulting when we had our consultation, but also it's on your own. You're learning all about this stuff through YouTube or different books. So eventually you'll get it. At first, it's like anything else. It's foreign. It feels uncomfortable, but you push through it, and it'll happen. You'll make it happen.
That you're so right, though, about having mentors or colleagues that you can call on. A lot of the surgeons are on Facebook, a private Facebook or private WhatsApp groups. And it's so helpful. They say when there's a problem, whether it be business, surgical, or staff, they just, they're just texting each other saying, what would you do? And then everyone chimes in. I think that'd be invaluable if you could get on one of those groups.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good. Yeah, I didn't hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, y'all, it helps to go to the meetings too, because
All
those
right,
monthly huddles are everything.
all right,
You meet people that you don't normally get to see,
all
and
right.
invaluable. What would you say is the biggest mistake you've made so far? that like,
I think, yeah, I think it's like most practices or surgeons stay is buying that one machine that probably you shouldn't have gotten because it promised all this. And you know this, but you still fall for it because why? Because you're trying to keep up with the competition. You're trying to be at the cutting edge of technology. And so you can fall for that trap to do that. And you learn from it, right? So you kind of determine that a lot of times you just wait a couple years that the technology's been out, and then you can determine whether or not this is something that will stay or effective. I think that that's important is knowing why you're getting it and not having an illusion or delusion that you think that this is somehow going to be a magnet for patients to come in. So that's
well, I will tell you, the vendors will also woo you by
um,
saying you can start a whole new target market here, like
right,
the men and the hair. And I
right,
say, everybody, just settle down for a second, because you don't have any men in your practice right now, and
right.
you have to go find a whole
Uh,
bunch of men for that service that you want to give them. Why not just add a service that the women in your practice already want,
right,
already need,
right,
and just promote more to the same target market than start a brand new target market. That's brutal, starting from
right.
scratch,
Yeah,
just saying.
yeah. No, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the competition. I actually have consulted in Tucson, Arizona, and I remember I missed the flight canceled. And
Mm,
Tucson, Arizona, you don't get another flight. Like it
mhm.
was a whole thing. Like I couldn't get out. It was like 5 o'clock at night, and the flight was something happened, or the weather. I don't know what it was. And I remember I had to go get a hotel. I had to get dinner. Then I had to get breakfast in the morning. Then another flight went out in the morning. And I thought, this place is tough. But now half of California seems to have moved over there to Tucson. So
Yeah.
what's the competitive arena like over there?
I think, yeah, like there is a good concentration of other plastic surgeons within our community.
Mhm.
So it is competitive in that sense, as far as and you can see the different things that can occur regarding pricing of X, whether breast augmentation is X on this one because they're under, all those kind of things that happen.
Yeah.
Um, so with competition, you can think about competition in that sense that can push you to do better, right? Obviously, that's what it does in a capitalistic or type of financial model. But the in essence, what I've learned, you're more in competition with yourself,
Totally.
right? So you can get in your head and compare yourself and say, why not this? Why not that? But as I learned, the only person you should be focusing on is on yourself.
Just better
And
your best.
because
Yeah.
it's your right, exactly. And so as long as you do that, you're doing your own race, you're
Yeah.
doing the best that you can, and you have your philosophy, you're learning, you're not letting things trip you up too much. I think that's the best advice to have when it deals with competition. You know what you're doing. You don't have to like go outside of the box so much and say, well, I want to be the first doing this or that or the other thing to differentiate yourself in a market. I think you just be yourself, do what you love, and take care of patients. That's it. I mean, that's my simple kind of approach to it.
I agree completely. By the way, your differentiator, one of, would be your bilingual. And
Yeah.
in Arizona, you have a very heavy Hispanic marketplace. How helpful has that been for you?
Oh, it's been helpful. It's good, especially when you're able to relate with the patient, even if they don't speak Spanish, and the culture. You can have more of a rapport. So it does come in an advantage, or is an advantage for you for that. But yeah, yeah. As far as differentiation.
And I also noticed you had special training. You went to South America to learn from a real specialist on like high def lipo.
Yes. So
Head back.
Dr. Hoyos in Colombia was specialized training in doing high definition liposuction using Vaser and other technologies. And I find that invaluable because yes, it's something that you're able to offer for your patient. And something as long the thing is, no matter what it is, as long as you're interested, it gets you up in the morning, it keeps you up at night, you wake up in the morning, it makes you excited to do it. I think that's the best way to approach it. If you just go because, oh, I just want to differentiate myself and et cetera, I think that you may not be as fulfilled as you think, when you do certain aspects of it. So yeah, but anyway.
But do you find the patient trends have changed a lot? Like they want those hourglass figures that they see on social media?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think there's a lot more uptick in fat transfer, BBL,
Ah,
liposuction, abdomen, even awake lipo. Awake
mm,
liposuction is becoming something that is something you could see the commercials of Sonovello, where uh, it is an art in itself because it could be challenging depending on the patient. It has to be a motivated patient in order to do so. But I think there's advantages to it, not only for marketing standpoint, but also for the patient too, in terms of safety with the procedure. So yeah.
yeah. Do you find you're doing a lot of like mommy makeover kind of things for the females between 30 and 50? Is that like who's your target market?
No, target market, yeah, it's the moms. So most moms. So it's tummy tuck, breast augmentation, breast lift, fat transfer, liposuction. So those are kind of like the main areas. And then the side of breast reconstruction, as you can see. But,
Right. How are these patients finding you other than word of mouth? Are any other marketing channels working well for you?
yeah, so right now I have a company. So one thing is that you always will learn is that you go through probably you change SEO companies or website companies. You can change it. It's common to change every year almost until you find the right fit. So hopefully the one I have is a good fit. It's a good fit so far, but it
Good.
seems to be driving in the leads. So we're
Mhm.
getting a lot more leads in that sense. So it is so it has been beneficial. Yeah. But again, you have to keep your eye on the numbers. If you never do, you're never going to know it exactly until it's too late, right? So it's every month reviewing the numbers, determining the KPIs, and so that you can compare and say that this is working or not.
But that's the secret to the whole thing is know your numbers and keep an eye on everybody because a vendor's going to work as hard as you want them to. And
Mhm.
if you're ignoring it, then they'll start ignoring it. So
Right, right,
I'm just glad you're meeting with them regularly and let
yeah,
them explain to you what's happening, especially right now with everything going on with AI and that.
yeah, right,
We can't
right,
take any of this for granted. And they've got to have a plan for you to how does ChatGTP learn about you, that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. So,
yeah,
and it's a good company you're working with. We won't tell who it is, but
no,
they're good.
yeah,
What about social media? Now, I watch your social media. You're so
yeah.
funny because you're really good on video and you're really compassionate and empathetic, and your videos are fantastic. But getting you to get on video is like an act of God. What's with the why won't you do
Why?
that?
Yeah, I think because it's like getting out of my head, right? I'm a huge introvert. It may not seem like it, but I'm so introverted. And so with that, it has its own challenges. But and I think getting rid of old philosophies, right? So things like, well, if I just do hard work and I get good results, it will all happen, right? It doesn't work like that. And so
Yeah.
you have to put yourself out there. Um, and so because the issue is that I do the videos, I'll edit them myself, which is the worst thing to do,
Oh, yeah.
and then I give up, right? So because I'm like I don't like it, etc. So I think the best thing is just hire that someone. So we need. I'm looking for a new person to be able to take that over, to
Mhm.
be able to then resume that and do the social media and be more active in it.
The biggest issue is we all get in our own ways,
Yeah.
and here's what I have learned: you get the right person, you show them the videos that you do like of yourself, like, so they have
Yeah.
something to work towards. Like, what do you like? What don't you like? Do you like the photo captions? Do you like the fun stuff? Do you want to, what image are you going for?
Yeah.
And then you get out of it. You just do the video part,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
leave it alone and let him or her take it from there.
Yeah.
And then unless it's something crazy, you're better off getting it done and getting it out than making it
Right.
perfect, because this is a
That's the
game
problem.
of,
I try to make it perfect.
yeah.
That's the biggest issue is trying to make it perfect. And
So
that's
you
yeah,
don't do the editing anymore. You get
right.
somebody else who
Right.
does it. And then, I mean, if they're ridiculous, you'll know right away if you don't like
Right.
what they're doing. But
Yeah.
then you work with them, you tell them again, it's setting expectations. But then you do your part, which is being the front man.
Right.
You do you.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you let him or her do all the trimming and the cap cutting and all of that. And they make you look good,
Right.
and just keep going. Just keep going. Don't look at it.
Yeah. 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 Just to do that. Which yeah. Yep.
Do you spend any time? And you know what? Another good thing is when you get the right person, you just have them come in, let's say once a week to like film you, like walk
Yeah.
around doing
Yeah.
the day in life of a plastic surgeon and
Right.
catching your essence. And then like I've seen your videos, like she'll catch you in the hallway. Hey,
Yeah.
Dr. Ruff, what do you think about this? And then like it feels fairly natural. You're just answering the questions.
Hmm.
That's they need to direct you, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And then they can work elsewhere, but you have to block the time. They have to block the time to make sure this happens. Because if we're waiting for you to have time to do it, I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Right. Right.
She
Yeah.
or he has to bug you,
Right.
and make it
I, th-
famous.
I think the toughest thing is, again, being a perfectionist works great being a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
But the issue is that when you're trying to plan out things like social media posts, et cetera, and then peeking at it and determining to become perfect, you're just going to work against yourself. And I've read and have taken courses on social media. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I have all this theory and all this knowledge, and yet because the thing is that what's the hurdle is what you said. It just take the action and have someone just do it for you, and then that'll take care of it, and then it'll take care of itself, right? So,
I promise. Yeah.
so yeah, the next time you'll see me, I'll be more on social media, I guess.
Please. Yes. Because you're good at it. If you didn't have
That's what
that
everybody
person,
tells me, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I want to take care of patients, and then
right?
it's like getting rid of that philosophy. It's like,
Yeah.
why do I have to do this? Like, why,
Right.
getting out of your head and questioning you do is part of the practice or part of getting out there, et cetera. So,
Well, if you want new patients and they need to go see who you are first before they're willing to come in for a consult. I mean, everybody I know, the first thing we do is we go to your Instagram account and say,
yeah,
who is this guy? Who is
that's right.
I want to know? Let's talk about, but you have done a really good job. You had this killer girl who did breast reduction and she did a full on video
Hmm.
testimonial.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that was excellent. And you've done that a few times.
Hmm.
Any secrets on how you're getting these patients to give you consents for photos and videos and reviews?
Yeah, no, there's no secret in the sense other than how you approach it. So, uh, we have and make it easy for them. So the easier that you make, so when you catch them, so I guess it is a secret per se, is the best time to do it is when they're raving already. They're just happy. They're raving about how happy they are, how the results are. That's the perfect time to get the review. And so we have a little QR code thing. They can either take it home or do it there, and they can do it there in the office or do it at home. So those are the best times in order to get them or capture them to do the review. Other methods, techniques is you can kind of you get the yes and then you don't get any results, you're not getting the review, and so you can gentle reminder through an email, or the next time that they come you just gentle reminder, and again until you get to a point that oh, you know what, it's best not to push them to try to get that review. Also is that know what their hurdles are, or what's blocking them from doing it, in the sense sometimes it's they don't want their name on there. And
Mm.
so there's different ways to kind of get around that. Either use the husband's account, maybe the name, or use or make a new account that doesn't have any identifiers on, and they can still review you. So
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
yeah,
that's good, Pearl. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you ask yourself or do you get staff to do it? Because I
Oh,
find when the doctors ask, they get a better response.
yeah. So it's kind of like 50-50. So
Okay.
yeah, whenever I think of it, I'll do it right there and then.
Yeah.
So that's the best time to do it. Yeah, it does come. There's more weight to it if you ask, and how you ask.
Mhm.
And then if I miss it, then the staff does it.
You're absolutely right about when you ask. I am so surprised when I go into practices and they say, "Well, we have that 6 month," and I think 6 months.
Yeah.
They don't even remember anymore what
Yeah.
how we
Right.
felt.
Right.
That was a
Right.
lifetime ago. You have to
Yeah.
catch them when they're absolutely ecstatic and telling you that. They're literally
Yeah.
saying, "Oh my God, you've changed my life. I love you. You're the best.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
ask now." You know,
Yeah.
let's.
Yep. It's the perfect time. Yeah.
So, tell me a crazy patient or staff story you care to share.
I guess it's philosophical or in a sense what I've learned. I mean, things happen, and the most common things you can think of, they happen. Uh, the best way to avoid them, the I think that one is again go back to what your mission, what your philosophy is, finding the people that have the same philosophy as you have. Also, it's very important that you have double, your checks and balances in the sense you have another person double check what's going on. Always keep an eye on the numbers, because otherwise you let it go, you're not going to notice until it's too late. Also, behaviors. If they're a certain way, a certain time, as always, and then they change, something's possibly going on. Either yes, it's personal, but there may be something else in the practice, which that's what happened with me in knowing because the person changed. When the person changes, that maybe there's something not, something off there's something off. You get those clues and follow those clues because they may lead to yeah disappointing realizations that embezzlement or so has been happening. So
So just for example, what kind of behavior was being shown when you knew it changed?
so the behavior was that first notice is that after every like big transaction the following day, she was offering to get me coffee, very
Oh,
happy. Yeah, so very
oh,
generous. So
oh,
it's very interesting, right? You're like taken aback, going, wait a minute, this explains each time possibly that this was
oh,
happening.
oh.
So is people's behavior. So the thing that was off was just listening to the interaction. There was whisper. I'd leave my door open. I wonder why the whisper, the total was off. So something told me, let me go see what that was. And
Yes.
it was off. It was off. And it was unfortunate. And yeah, no matter which way you look at it, you can't keep that person, even if they were like the pillar of your practice, how can you trust them again? And so that's a difficult aspect of it, but yeah.
How long did it go? Because some surgeons have like let it go for 2 years before they
Yeah.
actually did something.
So as soon as I found out, that's when I let go. As far as when I noticed the change, I don't know, a few months or
Mm,
so. I mean, little aspects. It's hard to describe. It's that intuition, right? You just know there's something, yeah, intuition. And so you follow your gut and see. I mean, but yeah, it's disappointing.
funny. I
Hard.
thought you were going to say they were really moody, and but instead they went the other way. They
No,
were being way too nice.
yeah, yeah, like very generous. And
Yeah.
so and it would happen after every kind of the transaction days or whatever, pre-ops. And so you knew there was, I mean, you kind of like, connect the dots, and that's what happened. Yeah.
Well, at least you got that over with early in your
Yeah.
career. You know what to
Right.
look for now because
Yeah.
honestly, it happens to everybody. And
Right.
anyone who says it never has, I just don't think they know about it yet.
Right.
You
Right. I
know,
mean, there were like three other plastic surgeons in town that it happened to, all in different. I mean, it's rampant in a sense, and especially if you don't keep an eye on it,
yeah.
it can get out of hand.
I worked with a surgeon who he knew she was taking from him, but she was so good. And he said, without her, I won't have any surgery. And I said, so you're willing to, and she's willing to play a game. You're both just, good morning, how's it going? And she would walk by with a Louis Vuitton bag and he would say, Merry Christmas, and I was so shocked. I said, okay, then you're as bad as she is. This is really dysfunctional.
And it's funny. I think we all do that either as human beings, right? So meaning that we have this person, this pillar, this key person in the practice, and we think, oh my gosh, if I don't have them, I will crumble.
Yep.
And this is the same thing as you think, well, if I stay with your partner, if I don't have them, I'll crumble. So it's getting out of that aspect of so linear thinking that you think, oh, there's no one else that could do what she does or he does. You got to get out of that. I mean, but it's understandable though. It's extremely understandable why you would keep someone knowing that. But you've got to deal with it as soon as you can. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. The obvious, what can happen.
The toxic culture that would create would be, I think, enough to say, oh, no, I'm out.
Right.
But that's just me.
Right.
Okay. Last question. Tell us something interesting we don't know about you.
So as you mentioned, you kind of alluded to, I'm bilingual. So I've lived in Wales. My dad is from England, Wales, and then my mom is from Colima, Mexico. So, and I lived in Mexico, lived in Wales, but initially, obviously, I was born here in the U.S., lived in San Diego. I love San Diego, but then moved around to these different parts and then ended up in Arizona for high school. And ever since then, except for training, have been in Arizona.
How in the world did your parents meet?
They met in Hawaii.
Of course they did. Yeah.
Yeah. They had to. Both on vacation. And one was their last day of vacation. The other was their first day.
Oh.
So they didn't know each other's languages.
Oh.
And the friend of my mom translated for them. And they would write to each other over 3 years before they got married.
Oh my God.
So they were in contact through mail. Imagine back then they would just send it through the mail. Who knows, 2 weeks or whatever, it got to the other side. And
he went back to Wales?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he was trying to write to your mom in Spanish?
So he would write in English. And then my mom had the translator, her friend. And so then she would also write it in English back to him. So they were doing that. Yeah.
Okay. This is really romantic. Please tell me they're still together.
They are still together.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Oh yeah, they love each other. They supported each other throughout all. Yeah, it's beautiful to see.
Out of 365 podcast episodes, that is the most romantic thing I've ever heard. That is so sweet.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's so nice. Okay, so okay, so anybody, if you wanted to reach out to Dr. James Ruff, his website is drjamesplasticsurgery.com, and his Instagram is Ruff Plastic Surgery, because his name is James Ruff, and then you have your JR initials. Your JR initials on your website, is that like JR, like Dallas JR?
No, well, just
that's the first thing I thought of. But would anyone know that reference, or just me?
I'm trying to think. The JR as in the guy.
You don't know JR from Dallas?
Yeah,
it was a really, really, really popular show.
No, I remember the show, but I don't remember the guy. Yeah,
the character. His name, it was Larry Hagman.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, okay, it's just me. Never mind.
Sorry. I didn't want. Remember, I didn't grow up. There were parts that I missed.
Oh, that's right.
The culture, because I was in Wales learning Welsh or speaking Welsh.
That's a good point. Everybody, that is going to wrap it up for us today. If you would please review and check out Beauty in the Biz podcast so we can grow that audience. And then if you've got any questions or feedback for me, please leave them on my website. And please check out my new book. It's a playbook. Enough said there. You can just check it out on my website. And we will talk again soon. So thanks so much. Hello, it's Catherine. If your practice feels busy but you're not seeing the growth you expected, there's usually a reason, and it's often something small that's quietly costing you revenue. That's why I offer a practice growth review. Now in this call, I'll take an objective look at your patient flow, conversion process, and retention strategies to identify where opportunities may be slipping through the cracks. You'll walk away with a clear picture of what's working, what's not, and the few changes that could make the biggest difference. If you'd like an unbiased set of expert eyes on your practice, simply visit CatherineMaley.com to schedule your review.